Awesome, Batman's on. Wait, who are those guys? I don't remember ever seeing those villains on Batman before. They don't look like anyone. We're gonna have to look at all the villains.
Are you a fan of Batman 66? Of course you are.
I am.
Who isn't? Batman 66 is fondly remembered by a generation for its campy tone and over-the-top acting.
Well, and for guys our age, it was Batman for a long time.
It's an introduction for many of us to comic books and comic book heroes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I've said it many times before in videos. Two shows really influenced me when I was a kid. Batman 66, Super Friends.
Yep.
And that's why this YouTube channel is going right now.
Mm-hmm.
On Batman 66, many of Hollywood's biggest stars made guest appearances on the half-hour shows.
It was like a unique sort of set of actors and performers who showed up as villains.
Biggest stars of the 1960s.
That was one of the gimmicks of the show, is that there would always be a guest star villain. Yeah.
Some of the weirdest ones.
Some odd choices.
The series starred Adam West as Batman and Burt Ward as Robin.
Mm-hmm.
The dynamic duo fought villains weekly, usually with a cliffhanger ending.
The first two seasons, it was half-hour episodes, one on, I might be wrong on this, again, if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. I think the first episode was Tuesday, second episode was Wednesday of every week. You got the first part with the cliffhanger ending, and then the conclusion on Wednesday.
You tuned in for the next part because you had to see what happened to Batman and Robin. They were always put in some kind of mortal danger.
Yep.
And every week they escaped using some bat contraption. Criminals in Gotham were not the smartest bunch, that's for sure. As you saw from the beginning, the idea for this video came from the opening credits, where it showed Batman and Robin fighting a multitude of villains coming at them.
Yeah.
And most of the villains are identifiable. But then there's this one panel that we talked about earlier that it never really identified who those four villains were. Stay tuned to the end of this video. We're going to try to figure out who those four villains are by going through all of the villains from Batman 66.
Strap in. There's a lot of characters.
So how we're going to do this is we're going to look at all three seasons and we're going to talk about the villains in order of appearance. So we're not doing a countdown from the worst one to the best one or from the best one to the worst one. We could debate the best one for hours. I say the Riddler. Most people say the Joker. But I think Frank Gorshin's Riddler is by far the best character
on that show, for sure.
The show.
Yeah.
Most have the Joker as number one. Cesar Romero.
Great Joker. Great.
You can't dispute that he's great, but I always thought the Riddler was best.
He is really a great personification of the Silver Age Joker. He really is.
And the Riddler is the first villain to appear in the Batman show. The first episode was a Riddler episode.
I just want to put one other word of caution here. This is also not an exhaustive history of the show.
It is not.
It's just focusing on the villains. Right. Because that would be an enormous and difficult explanation.
And many of the villains you have heard of, Riddler, Joker, Penguin, Catwoman, many of them you have never heard of. This may be your first introduction to them. Go back and look through the Batman catalog and find the episodes with these villains. Yeah. Some of these ones that you may never heard of are fantastic villains.
They really are.
They never appear in the comic books. They were specifically made for the TV.
Right.
That's another thing. A lot of the Batman 66 villains were not from the comics.
Right.
So the Riddler is the first villain to appear on the show. He appears in the series. The Riddler and Edward Nygma appear 11 times. 8 in season 1, played by Frank Gorshin.
Who is so good in that role.
Twice in season 2, played by John Astin. And once in season 3, again, played by Frank Gorshin.
Right.
And the third season episode is the one where him and Batman box. Probably one of my favorite episodes.
I remember that one.
Gorshin is great as the Riddler.
So good.
And is the best villain on the show.
Yeah.
To me.
He's unbelievably dynamic. And just watching him, he's just a human. He's just constantly moving and giggling and just.
And it's what.
So watchable and good.
Jim Carrey based his.
Oh, God, yeah.
Riddler on in the movie.
And I think probably his whole career.
Yeah, he is
Frank Gorshin.
He just wanted to be the Riddler. The second villain to appear in an episode isn't the Joker. It's the Penguin.
Yep.
Who can forget Burgess Meredith as the Penguin?
Awesome.
With his squawking laugh and umbrella-inspired hijinks.
Mm-hmm.
The Penguin appears in 18 episodes, even once running for mayor and once teaming with the Joker.
Now, the Riddler and the Penguin were bigger villains for Batman at this time because during the Silver Age, the Joker kind of got phased out because he had very dark origins.
Yes.
And the Silver Age tried to avoid a lot of the darkness of Batman's character.
And it's surprising that the Joker actually does end up appearing on the show because the campiness of this show doesn't apply to the original Joker.
Not the original, no.
So
Right.
Cesar Romero takes the role and makes it completely different.
Right. Speaking of the Joker,
The third villain to appear on the Batman series is the Joker. The Cesar Romero portrayal of the Clown Prince of Crime, still considered by many to be the best ever Joker version.
Yep, one of the best.
The fact that he wouldn't shave his mustache throughout the 21 episodes the Joker appears in makes him truly badass.
You know what's funny? I never realized he had a mustache because the quality of our picture on our TVs wasn't that good.
But now when you watch
when you watch in HD, you're like, it's a white mustache.
Absolutely. Joker episodes are probably the best. From him rigging a high school basketball game to him building a spaceship. But my favorite one is when he tries to outsurf Batman.
What's the one where he escapes from prison playing baseball?
Yeah,
that's like an early one.
And that's actually funny because Figure Toy Company made figures of him and the Riddler in those baseball
so good. Yeah.
From that. That's a great
That's a good one.
I forgot about that one. The fourth villain to appear on the Batman 66 was Mr. Freeze, played by not one, not two, but three different actors. Two for George Sanders, two for Otto Preminger, the best of the three, and finally two for Eli Wallach. Yes, 6 episodes.
Eli Wallach was Mr. Freeze?
Yep. Yes, 6 episode play. He only appeared in 6 episodes, and he was played by 3 different actors.
Oh.
Even more strange, he appears in season 2 twice, and is played by 2 different actors.
Well, back then it wouldn't have been as noted. I don't think maybe you would have cared.
They all
play
them very differently, though.
Yeah.
I really guess no one wanted to wear the makeup. It must have been a
the makeup
pain in the butt.
The makeup
to
looked
wear
annoying.
that makeup.
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, I think Schwarzenegger's portrayal of Mr. Freeze is definitely inspired by these guys.
These guys, yeah, because they're really over the
especially
top.
Otto Preminger. Yeah.
Otto Preminger is the one I remember.
Yeah.
Number 5 is the first villain that we see in the series that was not from the comic books. Zelda the Great, a magician and a bank robber played by Ann Baxter, and she only appears in 2 episodes during season 1. She was okay, but the episodes were a little bit flat. Not really a great villain.
No.
We have to keep track of how many of them were not from the comics. Number 6, the Mad Hatter from the comic books.
Yes.
Surprisingly, the Mad Hatter appears in 4 episodes, 2 in season 1, and back again for 2 in season 2. Played by David Wayne, no relation to Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
The Mad Hatter is portrayed as a very goofy character with obsessions with hats. His most remembered for turning Batman's cowl hot pink. Yes, Batman wore a hot pink cowl for 2 episodes.
Awesome.
And it worked for him.
What a difference between that Mad Hatter and the one who shows up in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This one is very...
Yeah.
It's really weird how he's focused on hats. Like, that's like a strange one. False Face, definitely the scariest villain. If you were a kid in the 1960s and 70s and you watched these episodes, you were terrified. He's the strangest and the most frightening of the villains. In the original 2 episodes, False Face appears in, no actor is listed as playing the character, just a question mark. Malachi Thorne actually played the weird Master of Disguise villain, which scared me so much as a kid.
I, for some reason, don't remember.
He wore like this weird mask.
Yeah?
Terrifying.
Oh.
Terrifying.
It's like an early version of like Black Mask.
No,
it's later in the comics.
It's like one of those clear.
Oh,
you partially see.
And
then he could shape his face to look like he disguised himself as Commissioner Gordon at some point.
Okay.
So he disguised himself, but
he's like the chameleon in Spider-Man.
But the fact that they didn't list an actor was
that's cool.
Really,
that's pretty cool.
Some cool stuff. Number 8 is Brian's favorite,
Definitely.
Catwoman. Another villain played by multiple actresses. Lee Merriweather plays the character in the movie. Then Julie Newmar.
She's my favorite.
Me too. And Eartha Kitt. Catwoman appears in 15 episodes. Newmar in 8 and Kitt in 7. She is the most sexy of all the villains, and she flirts with Batman throughout. All things suggesting that they team up and murder Robin.
Yeah.
Newmar to me is the best of the 3, but not by much, because who can forget Eartha Kitt?
Very good. Yes.
I did that good, right?
So good.
Perfect.
Yeah. I just love the idea, like, Catwoman's like, we could team up, but you gotta kill Robin. And then you can imagine Batman just for a split second being like, no.
Well, doesn't that play off the whole possibility of them being together, and that she wants to interfere with them being together? That's like an underlying thing to it.
But there's absolutely no way that Batman doesn't stop for a moment and go, no.
Especially when I know, actually, I can't say, because I thought Eartha Kitt was fantastic as.
Oh, no, she was great. I just like Julie Walker.
I know.
That.
Number 9 is one of my favorites, King Tut.
Yep. Not Steve Martin.
Not Steve Martin. Yeah. When he was young. King Tut is probably the oddest of the villains. He's an Egyptologist who loses his mind when he gets hit in the head, and he gets hit in the head often.
What?
He appears in 8 episodes. So in 4 of those episodes, no, actually in every one of them, because he gets hit in the head when he becomes King Tut, he gets hit in the head when he turns back to
twice.
Egyptologist. Yeah. So he gets hit twice. He gets hit 8 times in the head to become King Tut.
Yeah.
It's such a strange concept.
Right. It really is weird.
It's also important to note that he is the only one who finds out who Batman is. And it happens twice. But he never remembers because he gets hit in the head.
Because he gets hit in the head again.
Well, he could have spoiled the whole entire show.
He was played by...
I don't
Victor
remember.
Bono.
Yes, Victor Bono. Right, Victor Bono.
That's the same, by the way, same gag they used in the Flintstones. Every time Fred got hit on the head, he would change personalities. Yeah. There's a lot of concussions that led to hijinks in the 60s.
One of us got hit in the head.
Show might be
a little bit different. Yeah. Number 10 is the Bookworm.
Okay, he's probably my favorite actor in this
Probably
series.
my favorite actor in the series. His focus is books, and he has a book lamp as part of his costume. It's attached to the top of his hat.
Yeah.
Not too much of a villain-inspired Bookworm.
No.
But he's played by the great Roddy McDowall.
Who I've always loved, Roddy McDowall.
Me too.
Always.
He does a great job as playing the Bookworm. Unfortunately, he only appears in 2 episodes.
And aren't his crimes centered around, like...
Stealing books that are worth a lot of money.
Right, yeah.
He steals books.
Again, not quite sure why that would earn him a stiff beating from Batman.
Again, I don't know why. He should appear in more episodes. Roddy McDowall is best known for playing...
Cornelius in the Planet of the Apes. And in Fright Night.
Yes.
It was Peter Vincent. Peter Vincent.
We're both huge fans of
Fright Night.
Oh, so good. Number 11 is The Archer.
Oh, I like that show. Oh, no.
Played by Academy Award winner and Hollywood icon Art Carney.
Art Carney.
From The Honeymooners.
That's right.
Archer is basically Robin Hood out of his own time. He also appears in only 2 episodes, but he does the most meta thing in the entire series. One of his henchmen walk around with a laugh track machine, and every time he says something funny, he either plays laughing or clapping. So it's, to me, the first time they break the 4th wall in.
I don't remember him either. That's brilliant.
Breaks the 4th wall for the first time. Before Deadpool ever did it.
Nice.
Archer did it. Number 12 is the Minstrel. Another 2-episode villain, which is what happened throughout season 2. Season 2, there's a lot of... I think that's when the actors really started wanting to be on it.
Yeah. Showcasing.
And they would do 2. Yeah. The Minstrel is played by Van Johnson.
I do remember him.
He's a clever genius, and he plays a lute. The little tiny...
Yeah, little
harpy looking thing.
Yeah.
A formidable one-time foe who is quite memorable.
It was Van Johnson.
Sure, Van Johnson. Known actor. Yeah. Van Johnson. But the whole concept of that film is doesn't inspire fear.
No. It would have been cooler if it was Van Morrison.
Yeah, there you go. It would have been that one. Ma Parker.
There we go.
This is one of the most memorable ones to me, and I really can't tell you why, but I remember Ma Parker, played by Shelley Winters,
who's very special to you.
very special to me. Ma is the head of her own crime family. It's her and her children, and she tries to take over Gotham Prison.
Oh.
At that point, no Arkham Asylum in Batman.
Well, yeah, because there was no one was insane.
I know, no one was crazy. Really? Right. Minstrel.
Playing the lute alone,
I know,
should be put away for.
Again, she only appears in 2 episodes, but Shelley Winters is a great actress and
Wonderful.
everything that she's in. She is not from the comic books.
Poseidon Adventure.
Memorable as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Number 14 is the Clock King, who is a comic book one. Another comic book villain appearing in the series. Many of these characters never did, as we discussed earlier. Clock King is played by Walter Slezak and is focused on clocks.
Yep.
His weird costume and clock theme make him a good villain. Again, he only appears in 2 episodes during season 2.
I miss themed villains.
Me too.
Yeah.
I
You don't get those a lot.
I mean, and big name actors playing them too.
Everyone's just a mass murderer now.
Yeah. They just kill him. He's not doing that. Guy just steals clocks.
Right.
Come on. He's not trying to kill anybody.
Batman beats him into a coma.
Yeah, but this Batman wasn't that violent either. Number 15, Colonel Gum. In an attempt to spark interest in the failing Green Hornet series, Batman and the Hornet crossed over and fought Colonel Gum, who is overshadowed by the team-up. Played by actor Roger Carmel, who is best known for being Harry Mudd in the Star Trek series.
Great character.
How much better would this have been if the actual villain was Harry Mudd? And it was a
like
Star
a
Trek
travel episode?
Batman crossover. And Batman teams up with Kirk and Spock.
An interdimensional kind of thing?
I just made a great comic book.
That's a fantastic idea. Yeah.
Do a 66 Batman, team him up with Kirk and Spock, and have him fight Harry Mudd.
Yeah.
DC, get on that.
Yeah.
I know you listen. Number 16, played by possibly our favorite actor on the list, Egghead. Possibly everyone's favorite from the series. He's created for the series, and it's probably the favorite one from the series.
Because he's played by the most charismatic actor who ever lived.
Vincent Price. Who plays this role perfectly. He's obsessed with eggs because his head is shaped like an egg.
Right.
His constant egg puns are fantastic, and he appears in 5 episodes, 2 in season 2 and 3 in season 3.
Yeah, and there's no way you can't love
Vincent Price.
I mean, come on. Yeah.
And one of the nicest guys in Hollywood.
Apparently, yeah.
If we had a podcast years ago, we talked about Vincent Price.
We talked about Vincent Price a lot. Yeah.
Number 17, Chandel. Yeah. Played by Liberace, and it's basically Liberace being Liberace.
Right.
Definitely the closest villain to the actual actor. Chandel only appears in 2 episodes in season 2, playing the piano whenever he can.
Yeah.
I would love to have been there to hear the pitch to this, to Liberace.
Did Chandel steal Kubrick's Zirconians?
He stole the hearts of many a man and woman.
Yes, and misguided women.
Many a man and woman. But again, the episode 2 episodes he's in are fun episodes.
It's so funny. I would have never guessed he was in only 2 episodes because I remember him so clearly.
Well, remember,
and I don't remember Gum. I don't remember.
Like you, we watched this in reruns.
Oh, yeah. As a kid.
I didn't watch it.
Very young. Very young.
I started watching it when I was young. It was on right after school.
I was like 4, probably.
It was on right after school.
Yeah.
Number 18, Marcia, Queen of Diamonds. Played by Carolyn Jones, who is best known for playing Morticia Adams.
Yes.
So, yes, Gomez was on, and Morticia both were Batman villains.
Yep.
That's strange, right?
Right.
The character doesn't offer much. She loves diamonds. That's about it. And she's beautiful.
Yeah.
She appears in 5 episodes, once teaming with the Penguin on a scheme to get diamonds. I always thought she was really pretty.
Carolyn Jones, Cassandra Peterson as Elvira, and I can't remember who played Lily on the Munsters off the top of my head. They all led to a lifelong problem
with
for me.
women that look like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lifelong problem.
And and
With
honestly,
golf girls.
in doing the research for this, and I did a lot of research on this, just building this list, I went through all the episodes and watched a bunch of them just to see what the characters do. I had no recollection that she was on the show. I don't remember Marsha, Queen of Diamonds, but I remember her, and the fact that both Gomez and Morticia appeared in season 2 was just, I was like, why they could have done a crossover with the Addams Family. There
Absolutely.
you go. Another crossover.
So many good crossovers.
Number 19 is Shane. A play on the Western character Shane. Cliff Robertson is awesome as Shane, a Western-themed character who plays a great Batman villain. A Cowboy Against Batman worked great.
It's like an early Jonah Hex idea, right? Yeah.
And Robertson is perfectly suited for this role. He appears in 4 episodes. Of course, Shane must return.
Right.
Like, was Shane that big of a...
Oh, huge.
Huge?
The movie?
They
God.
They copied him
Enormous.
to be a Batman
It's an
villain.
absolute sensation.
Great idea that Batman has a cowboy villain.
Oh, yeah. You should have one now.
He should. Number 20, The Puzzler. It's a Wish version of the Riddler. I guess they had to do something since Gorshin.
I would have gone Timu.
All right. Wish, Timo, poor man's, whatever picture fancy.
Right.
This is basically the Riddler without Gorshin.
Right.
It doesn't really work as well, of course. He's played by Maurice Evans, and he only appears in 2 episodes because the Riddler comes back.
Right.
What they should have done is at the end they should have pretended it was the Riddler in disguise and just like made it that the Riddler was the puzzler.
Right, yeah, like you could have pulled a mask off or something.
And doesn't Jim Carrey do that as one of his names when he's going through the names to be the Riddler? One of his names is the Puzzler.
Yeah, he suggests the Puzzler.
That comes from...
Puzzler.
He rejects it.
That comes from this. It was a knock on this character.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Maurice Evans played Dr. Zaius in Planet of the Apes, and that would make 2 Planet of the Apes actors, Roddy McDowell and Maurice Evans.
There you go.
Batman.
And then we could have had a Batman crossover with
Planet of the
Apes. How awesome would that have been?
Well, they have that. Even better than that was the Star Trek Planet of the Apes crossover in IDW Comics.
Yes.
Called the Primate.
That was great.
Had the best title, the Primate Directive.
Oh, so there you go. DC, get on that. Do it.
Get to work here.
Come on, do some Batman 66 crossover. That's what we really want to see.
Right.
Number 21 is the Sandman. Not that DC Sandman. Not the other one you're thinking of.
There's 3 versions of the Sandman in DC
This
Comics.
is a completely different Sandman from any of the ones you know from DC. He appears in 2 episodes to help Catwoman, but it isn't. But not. He's not much of his own.
Right.
He's played by Michael Rennie.
Michael Rennie.
He is basically Catwoman's sidekick. In these episodes.
Nice.
Forgettable. It would have been better if it was the actual Sandman from the comic.
If it was like either the Kirby one or the Wesley Dodds.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he's not. It's just another Sandman. Number 22 is the Siren. As the name implies, Siren can sing a song and make mortal men do her bidding.
I remember this.
Played by Joan Collins.
Joan Collins. Yeah.
And she sings throughout her 2 season 3 episodes. And it sounds really annoying.
This would have been around the same time, by the way, that she was also in one of the best Star Trek episodes ever, City on the Edge of Forever.
Yes, she's great in that.
Yeah.
She doesn't translate well into a Batman villain. But again, attempt to get big stars at the time on the show.
Yeah.
I wonder if they were able to pick the characters. Because
I don't know. Probably not.
None of the last couple we named were from the comics. They were,
Right.
Number 23, Black Widow. It's not Scarlett Johansson. It's Tallulah Bankhead. She was old at the time, too.
Yeah.
Lots of spider stuff by a classic actress, being as classic as she could be. She was probably the most proper of Batman's villains.
More than likely.
Yeah, she was old at the time. Number 24, another strange one. Lola Lasagna. Yes, Lola Lasagna. She's not from the comic books. She teams with the Penguin. He is an umbrella. She is a parasol. She is played by Ethel Merman, who basically is being herself.
You'll be swell. Yeah. You'll be great. 2
episodes overshadowed by the Penguin, and she is forgettable as far as villains go. Ethel Merman deserved better. She was great in Airplane. Number 25.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Louis the Lilac. Uncle Milty himself. Milton Berle plays a gangster who is also a florist.
That's a great character.
2 episodes worth of this comic genius isn't enough. His plan is to rule the world are amazingly complex. He really designs these like crazy plans to figure out how to take over things, and they're long term, but he only has 2 episodes, so I don't know. He gets caught, he gets arrested, and never gets released. And, but this is another one of those great actors at the time.
It's like those long, complex plans. It's like that Austin Powers joke where Scott Evil is like, "Which one will you shoot him?"
Just shoot him. Louis the Lilac, a florist gangster played by Milton Berle.
But a florist gangster is a great idea for a character.
But that's why I say, do you think that the actors had an input on who they could be? Because at the end of it, I'll mention, I think, one character who doesn't appear, who I think should have, never does. So, Louis the Lilac.
That's a good one.
Ones. Number 26, Olga, the Queen of the Cossacks.
Nothing like bringing in an ethnic group that barely exists anymore.
I know. If at first you don't succeed, bring Ann Baxter back, but this time with a Russian accent.
Yes.
And team her with Egghead. Sounds good. Okay, let's move on to the next film. Number 27, Lord Fogg and Lady Penelope Pea Soup.
Yep.
What was Batman missing up into season 3? How about one of those trip episodes?
Oh, yeah.
Where the whole team of the show goes to some remote location, like the Brady Bunch when they went to Hawaii,
right? And
the Brady Bunch when they went to the Grand Canyon. Batman and crew go to London, England.
Swingin' London. Old Blighty.
For a 3-parter.
Ooh.
The villains were English aristocrats, played by Rudy Valley.
And Glynis Johns.
They rob and talk with accents. Not sure why we needed 3 episodes for this one.
Because England was big.
We got Roddy McDowell only in 2.
Yeah.
We get them in 3.
But England was big at the time. Like the British invasion. Beatles.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
Number 28. Let's move on.
One of the best names.
Nora Clavicle. A women's rights activist as the villain. Sounds a bit sexist for a Batman episode.
Kinda, yeah.
Played by Barbara Rush. Nora is one-dimensional and at best a forgettable villain.
Yep.
Who I guess was lucky only to have 1 episode. She's the only character I believe on the list to have 1 episode.
Oh. Ooh,
forgettable.
Pretty rough.
To say the least. Number 29, Dr. Cassandra Spellcraft.
Oh, another good name.
Yes. With the addition of Batgirl in season 3, Batman faced a lot of female villains, as you can see by the last couple we read. Spellcraft is the grooviest of them and one of the better villains of season 3. Played by Ida Lupino.
Oh, Ida Lupino.
It's unfortunate she also only has 1 episode.
Yeah.
Much more could have been done with the character. Lupino was great.
Yes. Any of you people out there who don't know these actors' names, ask your grandparents.
Yeah.
They'll know who they are.
or dads if they're our age.
If they watched.
If they're in their late 40s, early 50s.
Especially this last one.
Yeah. Number 30, and the last villain to appear in a Batman episode.
Yeah.
Minerva. She was played by Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Oh, yeah.
And she closed out the trend of female villains. I think there was a plan for a Batgirl spinoff.
That would be cool.
Needed to introduce all of these female villains because they would reuse them on the episode.
Yeah.
And because all of these last 3 only had 1 episode.
By the way, if you guys don't know the Gabor sisters from the 60s and 70s, Zsa Zsa and Ava, they were kind of like the Kardashians of the 1960s. They were famous, but no one was exactly sure quite why.
So, Green Acres.
Green Acres for Ava, yeah.
Yeah. But it was...
But Zsa Zsa.
They're an interesting group. Yes, I agree. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it. All 30 villains Batman and Robin faced throughout the show. Who is your favorite? Comment. Who do you hate? Comment that too. I'm going to go Lord Fogg. as my most hated.
I gotta rewatch all these.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
The next episode's going to be Brian's going to talk about the whole entire series.
Great.
But before we close,
That'll be just a little research.
this was a lot of research too.
Yeah.
But before we close, as we promised at the beginning of Batman episodes, there was that one screen where they showed
Yes.
4 villains who we really don't know who those villains are. They don't
Mm-hmm.
stand out. They're not Joker. They're not Penguin. They're not the Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
So who are they?
Right. Coffee.
One of them is King Cobra, who appears in a Batman 66 comic, and it's been confirmed that he is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
One of them could be the Crime Doctor,
Oh, we talked about him in Forgotten Villains. Mm-hmm.
who
Yep.
appeared in our Forgotten Villains, one
Right.
who appeared often in the 1950s,
Mm-hmm.
and who could have been one of the Clarks. We don't know for sure.
Yeah.
The only one we know for sure of these is King Cobra.
Yep.
The one that looks like a gangster could either be Sharky
Mm-hmm.
or possibly Carmine Falcone.
He was around then, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And finally, the last one just looks like a run-of-the-mill thug. Doesn't look
Yeah.
like anyone who appears in comic books or the show.
So King Cobra for
King
sure
Cobra,
was in the comics.
Was in the comics, never on
Never
the show.
on the show though. So they must have planned. maybe. but
Maybe they
never
did.
had
Maybe
him.
they planned for the season.
Yeah.
To me, the one that always bothered me throughout my years who was not in the show was Two-Face.
Yeah, because he was around in Silver Age. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I just, maybe he was just too disturbing.
I think he's too dark of a character. Yes.
They did do a Batman 66 cartoon in the last couple of years, and he does face Two-Face.
Right, but Two Face's origin even is upsetting if you think about it.
Yeah.
To like a
He
kid.
burns his face.
Yeah, he's half burned
Right.
and he's
So there you go.
Mhm.
There's the 30 villains from Batman. There's the 4 villains from that screen that nobody knows who they really are.
Mhm.
Hopefully you learned something today and
Yeah.
you liked our video. If you do, like, subscribe.
Yep. If you haven't watched the Batman 1966 to 68, I think 68 series.
66 to
66,
68. Ran for 3 seasons.
Ran for 3 seasons. Check it out wherever you can. It's well worth it.
It's
And it's definitely a strange take on
Groovy.
the character.
groovy.
Very groovy.
And it shapes the character in the comic books for the years after that. For
Big
years
time.
and years and years
Big
after.
time.
The
Yeah.
comic book gets very campy, just like
Yeah.
the show was.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the interesting things about 66 portrayal of Batman is they either continue the campiness until it runs dry, and then they react against it
Yeah.
and
Dark
bring
Knight.
back the Dark Knight
Yep.
in the 70s through the late 70s,
Through the late 70s,
into
and
the
then
80s.
fully with the Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so this is an important part of
Absolutely.
comic book history. If you're a
Mhm.
fan of comic books, one of the reasons why comic books are as big as they are now is Batman 66.
66, absolutely.
No
yeah.
question
Mhm.
about
It's
it.
one of those touch points.
Fondly remembered by our generation,
Mm-hmm.
probably forgotten by the new generation.
Yeah.
If you're one of our 18 to 24 viewers, we get a lot of them.
Yeah.
Check out Batman 66.
Yeah.
You won't be disappointed. Get a bunch of friends together and
Mm-hmm.
give it a watch.
Yep.
Start with the Riddler video.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Love what you collect.
Collect what you love.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah. The bookworm is like, I'm.